Namaste! Grand Rising, Big Cat. Welcome, or welcome back to Frequency Phoenix 555 for your message or massages. Come in! Come on! I've got intel. Recon is afoot. Fist bump, Slim Jim, skeet skeet. Hey, hey! Just giving it a hot minute for the big cats to assemble for this tete-a-tete. Did you miss me? I was so missing for 19 hours. Had to plait me hair, darling dears. Good golly and gosh. And you know me, darling dears, because I can't use the hair dye anymore. Every time I use the hair dye, right, my face swells up like that guy. What's his name? John Merritt, the Elephant Man. Listen, I'm only afraid of two things on this Malkuth, right? The first one, right, is Father God Most High, and that is wise, right? The second one is hair dye blood. That, was it the PPD or the DP, whatever the F is in their blood? It made my head big, large, and very sickly. So now, what I've done, I plant some grey into the roots, darling. Listen, if you've got a good Skrilla, you can buy anything you want. Even human beings, apparently. Not that I've checked it up, because I don't want to go to prison with the prisoners. Right. Let's dive in, darling dears. Are you fabulous, gorgeous, and lovely? Can I get a cat? Energies, up. I insist, darling dears. I insist. Because we've got a thing or two to talk about, darling dears. We've got to get to talking. Why? Because you are only the healed. Only the healed, darling dears. Tell them at the back, but no one else, bestie. Only the healed can attract the healed. Shepherds of the devil, darling dears, the one that chip away from the crevice of the devil's balls, need not apply. Why? You are walking, talking karma, darling dears. Ha ha! Bet you didn't realize that. Yes, you are, darling dears. All circumstances and situations you left behind, darling dears, especially the people, they're going through an egregious set of circumstances, darling dears. And they want what? Time travel. And what? See if you forgot. Did you forget, bestie? Oi! Did you forget? Listen. Lovely. Some of us have to be playing things like what? Candy Crush and Sudoku just to calm our insides before we what? Think about certain things, darling dears. Did you forget? They're having a bloody laugh. They're having a bubble bath. That's what we call it in the UK, darling dears. You have to remember, bestie, right, that divine wants you to let it go and let God. Why? God sits high and looks low, darling dears. It's not for you. God hears every conversation you wasn't meant to hear. Because if you did, you'd be in prison like R. Kelly. You are the blessing, and they are, I repeat, are on the docket in Kiza. Holding on to anger, darling dears, is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You're the only one that gets burned. Guess who said that? Buddha. Buddha said that. I'm an all-purpose spiritual kind of a cat, darling dears. I take the rulings and teachings from all religions because I believe there is only one God, but that's my own belief. You can believe what you like, darling dears. The process of healing thyself, the broken part of thyself, means that they, them, and an arm are going to be instantly repelled. You will see them before they get out of their bed, darling dears. That inner wound, right? The wound that allowed them to come into your life, darling dears, it is no more. Why? Because it wasn't necessary to your growth. Listen, we've got to get old English sometimes, darling dears. Tisn't, wasn't. Yeah? Yeah. You practically your level for bull swanky, darling. It's a tolerance level. There isn't one. Why? Because you don't tolerate it, darling. It's not on your hemisphere. You don't want nobody from the 7th level of Dante's hell with all of their traumas, darling dears, waiting to suck onto you, darling dears. Your ancestors are going, yeah, in the background. Why? You did the work, bestie. You did. That's why you roll with the 6 G's, darling dears. God, goals, gifts, greatness, growth, and gratitude. Why? They taught you many a lesson. And the biggest lesson is law number what? 10, right? Avoid the unlucky and the unhappy. Like I said, they're going for an egregious set of circumstances. You are no longer easy pickings for abusive behaviors. Fist bump to that and a quick posh clap, darling dears. Let's dive in. Moderators, please. Can you timestamp where I was talking, when I pick up the dice, when I go to the cards? Because you know what it is. Sometimes the big cats just want to get to the core. You understand? Let's carry on, darling dears. These feeble-minded simpletons, they've got nothing to do. Why don't they go and play in traffic? We have, listen, I can't make it up. You have the energy of a 9, darling dears, because of what you let go of. Some of you are at the penultimate of your healing, darling dears. This is why you must become a chatty cat. You are a survival kit for other cats. This is why you have to volunteer your energy. If you are not working in a position where you are serving, helping the public, but not at someone else's beck and call, darling, just volunteer your energies. This is the time where we give back. Why? We are in the age of Aquarius and many things are being revealed to us, darling dears. Go and watch the reading I put out there. It will show you the house that's highlighted for you for the next 19 years. And you better get your I's dotted in, your T's crossed, blood. Yeah, crossed. Not crusted, crossed. The energy of the 9 speaks about fruition, darling dears. You've achieved something. Why? Because you surrendered to the process. You are not bigger than God. You had to allow God to lead you. Why? Because your picker's broken, blood. My picker was broken for half of 100, blood. So no judgment here. So don't judge me. That wouldn't be fair, bestie. We may have to break up our friendship. Yeah. The energy of the 9. You may be, your birthday could be the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th, or that's a significant day or date in your life. The number's 369. What Tesla told us is the key to the universe is going to be your luckiest over the next few days. Your luckiest days will be Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. The letters associated with the number 9 are I and R. Numbers to be avoided or taken a closer look at. Something that comes to you with a number 4 or a number 8, darling dears. All right, let's dive a little deeper. The number 9 is ruled by Mars, and we know Mars is about your instincts, you stepping into your masculinity, whether you are male or female, darling dears. You are feeling driven at this moment in time. Why? Because you're powering up, darling dears. Powering up, whereas the blessings rain on you. You can't just let them fall on you, darling dears. Because faith without works is dead. James 2:14, darling dears. Divine wants you to put your back into it. Mars energy, go after whatever it is that you needs to be going after, darling dears. Okay. The 9th house, darling dears, also comes to mind. I've put the 48 laws of power into my astrological wheel. So we've got what? Law number 19, know your audience, darling dears. Law number 28, be bold. Why not? Those that matter don't mind, and those that mind don't matter. Yeah, love and light, darling dears. The final one I put there is what? Law number 36. They have to ignore the unattainable, which is you, darling dear. Your attention, your energies, your time. The 9th house is also about travel. Some of you are broadening your minds. It could be with higher education, spiritual work. The 9th house is a very spiritual house, darling dears. Why? Because it's ruled by Jupiter, the expansion of. It speaks about growth. Jupiter rules the letters C, G, L, and S. That's also part of this message, darling dears. So that may be your first, middle, or last name, darling dears. So we got C, G, L, S, as well as I and R. this is about you moving towards your dreams. You've got more of a worldly view. Why? Because you've been fucked over one too many times without the Vaseline. Dare I be so profane? Yes, I dare. Why? Because I'm a big cat and I'm bold. Didn't I just say we've got to be bold? Listen, Leslie, oi, can we keep up together? I'm not being condescending. I just like to move things along because I can be a chatty cat, you know, and none of you are checking me, boo. You won't stop me. Anyhow, as I was saying, the ninth house, darling dears. Fire energy. So it speaks about your intuition as well as your vision. You're going to be getting lots of visions, darling dears. Pay attention to those, especially if you are in a meditative state, because we are trying to reach that what Shangri-La. Meditation is, many people find it hard because they think that you've got to sit there and try and focus. That's very hard to try and focus to clear your mind, darling dears. Sometimes for me, meditation is walking or sitting quietly in my room. Yes. Or when I wake up in the morning, before I kick my way out of my righteous duvet like a 6-month-old, I consider my day. What blessings do I believe is coming my way, darling dears? Because you have to command the energy. You are a big cat and you are a power grid. If you don't understand what you carry, then you are on the wrong channel, darling dears. Divine wants you to what? Be dramatic with your ambitions. Be dramatic, darling dears, because Divine is going to touch you with that motivation and creativity stick. Somebody also needs to get some form of self-defense. Baby, go and watch my Don't Get Smoked video where I teach you light kung fu and self-defense. The energy of the 3 speaks about conflict as well as tongue wrestling from the feeble-minded what? Bottom feeders. It's always the ones outside the perimeter that can see where you're going, especially when you said what? Love and light. That's 2 of these and 1 of those. The energy of the 6 speaks about cooperation. Somebody from the past would like you to cooperate with them. The 6 can also represent some kind of medical visit, or they're going through some kind of doctor's nurse. They're looking for the sympathy vote, darling dears. But we've already been listening to Phil Collins about 1,000,000 times. If they were drowning, would you lend a hand, big cat? You've seen their face before, my friend, and they did not know who you was. But they know now, darling dears. Now that spiritual whip is at their door. They know now. People don't realize how much energy you carry, darling dears, your spiritual ranking, until you leave the situation. Some of them don't even realize that you was holding them in grace. Yeah, you was. Until you twasn't. Again, we have to go back to the old English, darling dears. Until you twasn't. The energy of the 3-6, darling dears, it speaks about what you're about to be gifted with something. All right. Baby, I don't know. Anthrax, babe. Anthrax. If they're sending me in the post and nobody's got my address, the progeny can barely find their way home. I tried to put a Bermuda Triangle around where I am. And don't let me go for the sage and the smudging, blood. Because I don't ramp and I don't play. As I sip my mocha, darling dears, can I quickly have a quick chat with you, darling dears? So I've got something on my chest that I need to take off, right? Hold on a minute. Oh, Shay! Shay! Could you please make me another coffee? First things first. Yeah, because as I told you many times, darling dears, I didn't tell you. This is a lesson that I had to learn. One of my sisters, she passed away on the 28th of January last year. And despite the fact that I didn't F with anybody in that circle, I had to go. Because her last few days was hidden from everybody in the family, just a select few, darling dears, that tried to keep everybody away. So she died thinking over 100 people didn't care. I went to the funeral and it was an art form, darling dears. Listen, nobody, you don't understand. You are ignored and avoided. Not even avoided, because here I am, blood. Unless I ignore you, darling dears, you will pinch yourself. You will get something to smack you across the face to make sure you're still real. The energy around that was it was soul-sucking, darling dear, soul-sucking. So then when I heard on the 8th of November last year that my oldest sister was passing, I dropped everything, and even though I don't F with no one there, I went to the hospital, and I played the Jones Girls track, right? Because that was one of her favorites. And she woke up, first noise, and then she was talking. She survived for another 4 weeks. She passed on the 10th of December. And then last week, one of her sons called my daughter, because nobody can contact me, darling. Did you listen? You got to go through God, blood. To tell me that our auntie, one of our aunts, had died last week, Monday, who's not in Jamaica, she's here. And he's only bringing my daughter to let me know what's going on. What do you mean? What about when my sister, my oldest sister, was having her home going? What did it occur to you to contact me? So I've already said, not for all the tea in China. I'm not putting myself through that energy again. I said goodbye to my sister at the hospital, darling dears. They didn't know that because I didn't speak to them. And like I said, I'm not big on communicative dance. I only know what this, and this. And I didn't have the energies for that, darling dears. Why? The point I'm trying to make, darling dears, I couldn't give a good golly or a gosh whom it is. Once they cross the line and they are comfortable with crossing that line, with earmarking you as the what? The bane of their life. When their life was fucked up, whether you're there or not, darling dears. Why? Because they're in it. They just want to draw you back so that they can work on your self-esteem, darling dears. Put you on the ropes of life, the rocks of life. But remember, your energy is precious and it's not for everyone. You've come too far. All your life you had to fight. In my Sophia voice, are you really going to dip your toe back into the devil's playground? What for? Listen, bestie, oi, tell him at the back. It's really good. The best thing for you to do is ignore someone from inside your house where you mind your own business. Ignore them from there. Let it go. Let them go. Like I said. How dare you call my daughter to tell me about this after the time, and then telling my daughter, who has a master's in criminal mental health, right, and psychology, that you don't feel happy. She told him to go and get counseling. What the fuck? What do you think? Well, a blood clot. Yo. And then she rang me and said, Mummy. She's the only one of my progeny that still calls me Mummy. The rest call me Mum. Some of them just call me. Like I said, darling dears, anybody can get left behind. Don't let no one feel so comfortable in your life, darling dears, that yeah, that's right, Donnie Renee. It's the favorite son, but shh, don't tell him. Don't tell him. I know it's the only one, but shh. But like I said, I don't care who it is. They can get moved around, darling dears. Your mental health is very important. And when you attach yourself to the wrong energies that are going nowhere, darling dears, they will hate you for it. Remember, a prophet is never recognized in its own village. And I might add, they are what? Jelly Bogelli. We saw the energy of the three. Conflict and confusion, darling dears. Why? Because it's you. If it had been anyone else on this Malkuth, they'd be fine with it. But because it's you, bestie, well, guess what? God used Noah and he was a drunk. God used what's the other one? Hold on a minute. Let me think. I told you when I need something to come back, I always click my fingers, right? God used Abraham, who was old, Isaac, who was a daydreamer, Leah, and she was an ugly wuggly, Peter, who denied Jesus, darling dears. God used Moses, who was a murderer, who had to keep it to himself, right? God used Mary Magdalene, who had demons on her blood. Elijah was wanting to unalive himself. Jacob was a full-on liar. Thomas doubted everything. And Lazarus thought he was going to be at peace in death. Nah, blood, God used him. And you are that Lazarus, darling dears. Never you forget, you are walking, talking karma. Not because you mean them to be any harm to them. You don't want no one to be harmed. You just don't want them to eat at your table. And you'll be goddamned if you eat from theirs. With all that bad energy. Listen, you'll end up in the A&E. And who wants to go to the A&E? You don't know what jabberoo they're going to give you. You see, the thing is, when I think about a situation, now I told my children, when you tell me something, right, it looks like I'm sitting here like this, not thinking. My mind works like Doctor Strange, darling dears. I've gone into the multiverse. I've seen all possibilities of why that's a fucked up idea, if it is a fucked up idea, or if it's a good idea. Before I say, I am slow to speak, darling dears. This is the point I'm trying to make. Because these shepherds of the devil will materialize on you, darling dears, and sometimes you're caught off guard. And you, with your lovely, sunny, God-blessed nature, will say hello, or even dare you go and hug them. No, we don't hug no one. Energy transferring, good God. You might as well just lay your genitalia wide and bare, darling dears, and get a full-on soul tie. You ain't transferring no energy. You don't even want to fist bump them. And never you forget, darling dears, when you're wondering where your gang's at, where your people's at, they're here at Don't Get Smoke Central. We are what, your internet best friends, until what, you have healed to such a level that you are able to what, attract who truly deserves a seat at your table. This is why I try my best to come to you on a daily basis, bestie. Because I don't know whom my message is going to touch, to let you know that they don't deserve you. They want you to come back with a fake persona of what, Prakala or Prakalisha, so they can what, hit you with it without the Vaseline. Remember, God sits high and looks low, darling dears, and you are walking, talking karma. Because if you look back at their egregious lives and situations, you'll see they're still doing the same fucking ease. And their progenies are just like them. Call me back and try to call me back through my progeny. Listen, bonfire for that. What fire? My smudged mate. I was in a sage frenzy. I was. Your ancestors has built you on such a pedestal, darling dears. They was hanging on by the skin of their teeth the many times you bucked your toe and fell into that drudgery, thinking that was all. That's not all. You turn the page of life anytime you want. But you have to remember, that page is just for you, and whatever you draw to you, as only the healed can attract the healed. You'll get a little pepper dusting along the way, a blessing here and a blessing there. But you have to disconnect on a spiritual level, darling dears. This ain't the time to play. Like I said, Pluto is in Aquarius to teach us all things, individually and as a society. This is the season where people are speaking up. Look how many people's come out and unmasked their truths. We got that Cat Williams. And that other lady, I've forgotten her name. Oh my God. It was on the tip of my tongue. The one that told Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry. She said she's going to give them an apology. And then she said, I apologize because not only did I tell you to suck my I should have told you to swipe the crusty balls as well. Good God. Is that an apology? Ooh, child. But they were paying attention till they heard the punchline, darling dears. Yeah. They wanted to shut up. But let me tell you something. A lot of people are saying that. What's the lady's name? Somebody give... Yeah, Monique. Thank you, Millie de la Prida. Let me tell you something, bestie. Let me ask you something. Let's talk cat to cat, right? If somebody did something to you, darling dears, that cost you tens of millions of dollars, would you shut up? Would you really? Because I know I wouldn't. I'd be a chatty cat. I'd have written a book, darling dears. I would have done a special. I'd be on YouTube, right? With my mocha, right? My eyes slitty and my head back. I'd be serving nostrils as I tell it. You're right, Donny Renee. Them have to run the money. Run me my check, blood. That's out of order. This is the age of Aquarius where people are standing up. Why do you think Cat Williams has got nearly 59 million views on his video in about, what, 5 weeks? I was watching it. I watched it, right? And I know you're not supposed to do it because the most watched video on YouTube, right? Because I checked it. I told you I'm a keyboard gangster, right? Bestie is Joe Rogan. And it was something to do, I believe, with area 54 or 57, whatever it is, right? Something to do with sci-fi shiznai. Anyhow, right? His one was at 58 million. Cat has surpassed that as the most watched video on YouTube. I'm not talking about music, darling dears. I'm talking about having a discussion. Because that other one, what was that, Gangnam Style, that had over 1 billion views. And I'm sure there's other music ones, but that's not my point. The point of the fact is, darling dears, this tisn't the season for you to... Who just said that? Oh, Share Bear. Big Cat, wave. Yeah. And I love that name, Butty Crown. Me know what that mean. Yeah. Like I said, darling dears, you are walking, talking karma, and anyone's life that you've left, they are sorry. They are missing, and they would love to come back. Why? To fuck you over, darling dears. They'd either be a ear hustler or the bringer of the darkness. Listen, allow me on the rocks of life, yeah? I've checked out of that. And don't you ever second guess yourself, darling dears, because your conscious mind is a bastard that likes to bring you down memory lane without the Vaseline, darling dears. Oh, it was lovely. It wasn't no Little House on the Prairies, otherwise they'd be in your house life now, or even in your house, Freudian slip. Somebody needs to remove an item from their house that's been given to them by what? A deceiver. Why? These items are energy, darling dears. And when they're focused on you, they're activating F shit in your yard. And I don't like to be woken up at the 3 a.m. where my heart is going boom, diddy, boom, diddy, boom. No! I run a tight ship round here. Let's carry on, darling. Just get your Oracle Ancestral message. We're going to go with the Oracle, which is Oracle Wisdom? Base of the deck. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. We're taking that because who gonna check me, boo? Right? Because you know a thing or two, darling dears. You have a responsibility, darling dears, to live your life to the fullest, to live it your way. And this ain't New York, darling dears. Your way. Your spiritual journey. As I said, the healed will attract the healed. All right, what does our ancestors say? Listen, you have all the power, darling. Just look at the Eye of Sauron at your back. And it's about you, what? Being the moving silence champion, darling. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, because you know what? When you leave certain energies behind, you get to be in your own ambience, darling dears. You listen to your own thoughts. This is when your intuition starts to get even more litty, darling dears. This is when you are what? Having true full-on conversations with God, when you take the time to meditate, do your walking meditation. Some people meditate through cooking. They like to cook. This is where they get their sweet spot, darling dears. Whatever it is that what? Turns you on spiritually, darling dears, you do it. Because God wants to talk to you. Why? If he's the head that wears the crown, you lead by example. Do as I do. But they can't quite copy you. Why? They haven't done the DNS. They're still finger pointing, gossiping, living in reverse root chakra style, darling dears. The energy of the 9 is represented by the Hermit as well as the Moon, isolated from traitors and tormentors, darling dears, but it was part of your spiritual journey. The Moon energy again goes back to the High Priestess, Litty, your intuition, darling dears. It also speaks about somebody, because the High Priestess could also represent a mistress, a side piece. Somebody on the side feels as though you still have power over that person that you gave back to the streets. Yes, they do. Oh, well, that's their business. They're paying for it. I don't care. What did I say? If they're paying for it, I don't care. This is the dark night of the soul. Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Somebody I got you eat, darling. What did I tell you? They're going for an egregious set of circumstances. Yeah, it was all good when they thought they was running you down, darling. When they thought you was barking at passing cars. When you went silent. Yeah, they was hoping that they'd hear that you was in your grave, darling dears. Finished. No, babe. You was on that knee saying amen. Hey. Dark night of the soul. And it represented by the direction of north. North also represents the heart chakra, darling dears. The frequency of 639 will be important for you to play over the next few days. Why? Because that is represent the frequency of the heart chakra, darling dears. But it's also a combination of the 369, which is going to be your luckiest numbers over the next few days. Pay attention, darling dears. I give you so many messages. Not every message is going to be for you, but if it resonates, you put that on your almanac, darling dears. Them I got treat, darling dears, and I'm looking for somebody. The mistress or the, I don't know who this is. Who is this broad? Yeah. Somebody feels that you've still got power over them. One is a mistress. Next one could be feminine energy. Could be family members, an ex-friend. Somebody feels that you've still got the power. All of the power. Why? Because you know how to balance out your shadow side, darling dears. When you learn to walk with the wise, wisdom is your go-to move, darling dears. Like I said, we can't do without our shadow side. It's about understanding these are what? Childhood wounds, internal wounds that we had to face. We are fearless cats. Why? The hardest thing to face is yourself, blood. You know how much people can't sit with themselves? Listen, I could be gone for a whole month, darling dears, and not speak to another human being. Why? Because I'm busy. I told you I've got so, as of you, darling dears, you've got so many interests, so many things impassion me. And as far as the High Priestess is here, this is mother energy. Remember this, darling dears. Write this down on your almanac. If you've got progeny, don't invest all your life in just your progeny. Have other projects. Have other passions, because they can be skullduggerous too. Especially if it's in a situation where you've broken up with the partner, darling dears, and the partner's been off on a frolic of their own, so they've missed out the primary school runs, the secondary school when they went through the crazy teenagers, when they went from a lovely duckling into a wolf with claws and a slick tongue, darling dears. Hiya, listen. Like I said, you come with the balance, darling dears, and the karma. Right. Let's go with a deck. Oh, well, I've got the blue one in my hand. Why not? I was going to get a different one. I said, why am I putting this down? Look down. Why are you looking up? You can't see what's going on if you're looking up. What did I say? The stalking stalkers. Didn't I say the Eye of Sauron of the what? Those that are going through the egregious set of circumstances. Most unfortunate. If I had some planting chips, I'll be chewing them now, darling, because I'm telling you, it's most unfortunate. They're watching you on your social medias, right? What did I say? Someone that left you for someone else, or you told them to fetch the black bags. Go back to the raccoons, right? The rebound is the bride of Chucky. Woo child. A soul snatching how? Revelations 2:20, but that's their business, blood. The big cat can't be replaced. They are to be remembered and regretted, but not replaced. Why can't you be replaced? And why can't you come back? Because of Proverbs 31:10. You are worth more than diamonds and gold. What do you mean? Bargain bucket? Yes, we were there. We saw what it like, and it didn't go with everything we had going on. It didn't go with our eyelashes. How about that? The same eyelashes that they hate that are attached to you. Yeah. And we've got the progeny. Remember what I said? Somebody's progeny is a full-on homosexual. They're living off you. They still want to be breastfeeding from you, darling dears. Put them down and find your own passions. Sometimes you've got to what? Force them out of the nest, right? Force them out. I told you, they can't sleep at night. All they do is talk about you. And when they're not talking about you to what? Another bottom feeder. Your ancestors are talking to you, them about you. Somebody who falls in love at a drop of a hat, yeah? What's this? Oh, it's a brother. It could be your brother or a brother. They're talking to the flying. It's always the feeble-minded. Why are they being so rambunctious? Haven't they got things to attend to, like the crosses that they put on their own backs to bear? What's the matter with them, bestie? How much more does life has to keep creeping up on them like a cheap lace thong? What's the matter with them? It's not for us to consider and to wonder and ponder in our alone times, in our own individual don't get smoke central. Nah, blood. That's why I say, if you ever took the piss with me and you was running around like it was 1984 in my life, darling dears, you can't do that again. Not a blood clot. And the word blood clot, it's a Jamaican terminology. I believe that it means it's talking about a sanitary towel, darling dears. If we break it down so you can understand. Blood clot is a wonderful word. When someone's surprised, you can go, blood clot. Yeah. Right? When the wicked try and contact you, you'll be like, blood clot. Yeah. You put some bass into it, darling dears. And when somebody tells you happy news, you go, blood clot. Yeah. It's a wonderful word. All nations need to what? Adopt it. I told you when you come here, you're Jamaican. They want to come around with tomfoolery, darling dears. Pillow talk. What does this mean? I can't believe it. You've got a vacant orifice. You've got the time to allow the devil's most diligent worker back with their what? Deceit with empty words. Ephesians 5:6. You better be Peter 5:8 up in this bitch. On the alert and of a sober spirit. Listen. And it's a brother. All right, let's get a deck and dive in, darling. It's going to go with the black. Look, Queen of Swords, darling dear, styly. You are highly intelligent. This is the wisdom of your actions. You could be a divorced woman or somebody who hasn't got children or their children have flown the nest, darling dears, or about to. Highly intuitive. Again, it's a pay attention to your dreams and your visions, darling dears. You are getting a Geiger counter for direction. Somebody's feeling direction at this moment in time. But all answers come from within. You have to get quiet in order to hear and understand the messages, darling dears. When you think you're looking for and you're waiting for these things to come in, this means that you're putting a limitation on yourself and you're not allowing your subconscious mind to manifest what you truly deserve. The Queen of Swords also says that you have to what? Be disciplined with your thoughts. Be disciplined, darling dears. How do you do that? You question them bitches. You question the bitches. Because why? When these thoughts come up and they're telling you wickedness, making you feel less than, they're not from God. Why? And the biggest hater you'll ever have is your conscious mind. Merchants of slander on the balls of their feet. What's the matter with them? Listen, alright. I ain't got enough hours in the day. I need 28 hours in a day. I'm busy. Doing what? I can't tell you, bestie. I told you, I tell no one nothing. I don't even tell it to... I tell I, but I don't tell myself and me. I only tell I. Tell I everything. Look in the reverse. Knight of Pentacles. This is somebody with mental health. This is a lot of gossip. This is people stagnant and stuck, darling. There's with lack of focus. Knight of Pentacles doing a pooper lick. That's a forward roll, darling dears. This is people that are lazy. This is somebody that's trying to attach to whatever has been slowly manifested in your life. Knight of Pentacles in the upright. Whatever you've been trying to manifest, if it's been slow, it's about to what? Smack you right in your face. It's about to turn up in your hemisphere. But somebody who is lazy, darling, is that likes to leech off of other people's rainbow and turn every day into a grey cloud. Hold a minute. Jeanette! MOH, Wagwan, fist bump. I just call, listen, I can be like a 6-month-old that. If I look at the comments, mate, that's it. Because I'm getting in there. There you go, Jeanette. You can help them with the policing skills, because I'm telling you, the devil's most diligent workers like to turn up on a big cat. Yeah. This is what they've come to do, darling dears, to put you wounded, to have you questioning your gangster, darling dears, when your gangster has a certain je ne sais quoi. But you had to realize that. You had to realize that you had 6 G's that you can call on at any time. from your spiritual bank. They come to wound you, darling. This is all the gossip at your back, where it's supposed to be, like the past and a ponytail. These homosexuals, darling. Of course they're going to love you a long time. Look, the cards just told you to turn your shapely back and focus on your future, darling. There's some of you have travel plans, or you're about to travel. This is money coming from pennies, or should I say pounds, a bag from heaven, darling. You've got unexpected income or finances, something that is going to afford you a security, a vacation, but movement, darling dear. Yeah, disappoint them at every turn. They was extremely disappointed. Some of you are still feeling disappointed with yourself. But if you allow that, you're holding on to the short stick. 2 of Wands. It's about time you turn your back. Out of these cards, you've got no swords. So then again, no swords here is telling me that this is the conscious mind trying to make you make a bad decision. Yeah. Listen, this is a page, and you know a page is emotionally immature, darling. This cup is full of lies, fuckery, subterfuge, bull swanky. Yeah. Wheel of Fortune. It's because you've changed, darling dears. You used to entertain these feeble-minded bottom feeders. You did. You was right up in there, and when you was there, you was toxic too. Because you take it on, darling dears. It was a contagion of fuckery's blood. Yeah. How about that? Let's get another deck and break this down. Why am I getting another deck? The black ones are so hard to pick up off the table. And I haven't got the hairline for it today, guys. I really haven't. Yeah. Base of the deck. They want to work with you. What did I say? Knight of Pentacles. Thinking of a way to approach you. Because you've put the lid on your what? Unconditional love. Queen of Cups is what? You're loyal, darling dears. To a fault, you was. Until you put your tolerance level for bull swanky to, it's non-existent. Why? Because they can't come back. Their energy is automatically being repelled because you are walking, talking karma. And this is your season. When I tell you guys how you must embrace the fact that this, where we are right now, in the age of Aquarius, is a once in a lifetime thing. We are going to see changes in AI, in individuals, people speaking up, people that had the power. You're going to see them slip, darling dears. I told you already. You see Pluto, right? Pluto he's in Aquarius right now, but he's about to go into Capricorn between September and November. When he goes back into Capricorn, let me tell you something. It's going to be everybody was kung fu fighting. The 1%, the elite, people that was in control, darling dears. They're going to be shown their own ass. Remember I told you that. This is why I keep tasking you to go and watch the read. Find your rising sign under my Pluto and Aquarius read. Be armed and dangerous. Make sure that your foot is on the path, if not already on the path of what you want to co-create, darling dears. Use the energy of the house that it falls in for you. Because when Pluto go into Capricorn, you think it's just going to, no blood, it's coming for you as well. I've told you many times, bestie, you don't just come here to have a laugh. Well, I laugh all the time, darling. I can't help it. I'm a funny gal. Except if you've been crossed off my list, then my fears is stripped. Come through Safari, Easter Island, and Stevie Wonder. Yeah, they're remembering the loyalty you brought to the table. You may even be the mother of their children or father of their children, right? They wounded you before, but they haven't changed. They've come in to find out information. They're possibly trying to get what? A leader of the backstabbers to come through. The ones that come cut to the white meat. What do they want? They're looking for some kind of money, some kind of help. It's going to affect your mental health. It's going to bring down your vibe. They're coming to what? Kill your vibe, blood, a bitch or a midge. Somebody who what? Kicked you when you was down, darling, or put you in that vulnerable set of circumstances. That same egregious set of circumstances they're living amongst. Base of the... Look! The card said, watch out! Back, front, neck, tabas are afoot. 2 different decks, blood. There's 78 cards in a deck. What's the chance of them both coming out in the upright? Not often, darling dears. And 2 9s, lean in, bestie. It's about the what? When you see the 99, it's the ending of the cycle. Why? Because it had to end in order for you to be the cat that you are. It's about you letting go. Weeding out what no longer serves you, darling dears. This is for the greater good. Why your energies are meant to be for something else. And your purpose, you find that in your North Node. Your energy is not for them. End of cycle, completion, finito. This goes to what? 9 on the dice, 9 on the card, and 9 here. This is 999, darling dears. Ending of the what? Karmic ties, the cycles. This is a new chapter, a new page in your life. And any situation that makes you even the slightest uncomfortable, darling dears, will be swept out of your way. But Divine wants you to remember, we don't look back. We are not Lot's wife. If they was meant to be with you, they would have been at the seat beside you, not at your back with the blades. So you must disappoint them, darling dears. Disappoint these feeble-minded, what dickheads, right? Old-faced young hoe. Look, High Priestess in the reverse. Spell casting, gossiping. This is a mistress, some side bitch who was made the main bitch, and now that bitch is being treated like a bitch. This is their business, blood. I just come with the messages. This is somebody who's bitter, many bitter, and it could be feminine energies, but we also have this card. So it's men and women. Mitch, bitch, bitch, Mitch. Listen. It is. I told you we get the old English again. Feeling disappointed. You was always disappointed down there, and that's not a nice feeling to have all of the time, darling dears. This is why Divine what gave you the spiritual weight of being the karma for them. This is the karma card. Libra is the house of contractual partnerships, these friendships, business partners, associates, your peers, whatever they are, darling dears. They're all getting it without the Vaseline. What did I just say? Many times, bestie. You are their karma. And that karma is not going to stop, right? Until they stop sending that negativity your way. This is current energy, darling dears, from men and women that should know better. But then again, why would they know any better? They're coming through as the Page of Cups and pages. Pwah! If they're not your progeny, we spit on them. Why? They come with confusion. Doesn't matter what age. Just because you could be up there in age, you're still feeble-minded and acting like what? Chucky. Your inner child is Chucky. And you must what? Go chuck it. Yeah, tell them to chuck off. These people like this, you need to tell, if they, I don't know, mate, because I'm really feisty. That's a Jamaican terminology for cheeky and rude. Just because you're spiritual, people think that you can't tell them like it is. Listen, I'm not above telling someone to go and find a tall ladder. And they'll be like, what do I want a ladder for? Climb to top of said ladder and dive off that ladder into your mama. Listen, I'm Jamaican parentage, blood. I can cuss like, listen, I tone it down for the internet, darling dears. Because even though I went amongst enemies, when I stepped into that room, trust and believe, all heads down. Because you know why? If I'm going to cuss them out, I lead with facts and figures, darling dears. My brain is like a computer. But I didn't want that energy anymore. I didn't want to go and say goodbye to my sister, my oldest sister, at her funeral, amongst people that are, the energy, it's like, being around that energy feels like you're in the bottom of a swimming pool, darling dears, with no water in it, and you're trying to climb up the edges. Even though you know the stairs is over there, you can go up the side and help yourself out. That's what it feels like, darling dears. Why would I waste my time there? And I've got big things going on in my yard, blood. Your yard, your home, your domicile. What's that? I'm in there, darling dears, and so is God. Anything can be going down. And I don't tell anyone, like I said, I don't tell myself and me. I only tell I. You've already released this situation, darling dears, and no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Remember, I told you that. This is a highly spiritual card, darling dears. They're open enemies. So they're still talking about you, darling dears, whether it's on the pillow or at a garden fence or in the mud hut, darling dears, that you are on their mind. Because whatever you've done on social, some of you are in stealth mode, darling dears. Trust and believe you can find someone on social media. You know how? My 14-year-old told me that, Mommy, All you've got to do is have a picture of a person, right? You go to Google and you put that picture in images and you type find, and then you can find everything attached to that social media. How do you think the catfish do what they got to do? Listen, my child schooled me. I was like, what you saying? and me, right? A child of knowledge. I told you, I'm an eternal student. I find out a lot of shit, darling dears. I'm always learning new things. Me being the eternal student and the keyboard gangster, I tested that shit out. And I was like, good God. Now I've got images in my mind that my eye chakras can't unsee. I want to see that. Because I didn't care. If don't care was a picture in the dictionary, darling, you see me there going, yeah, representing for the crew with the what? Love and light. Telling you. So don't think that your social media is that private, because you can still be found. We are in the age of Aquarius, darling dears. But when they find you, right, make sure that they don't find that the house is still a home. You'd rather have no one there and be in the presence of the Most High than be in the company of someone or someone's that always saw you as less than. You was the go-to scapegoat, darling dears. But they didn't know that you was the one that had the spiritual ranking. They didn't know that you was the one that would be able to what? Overcome the DNS. You was the one that always had the power. You was always Dorothy, darling dears. You always had the 6 Gs. Let's move this out of the way because these gets all mixed up. Let's get something else. All right? Let's get some emotions on the table, because I'm telling you, they're talking about you. Your lovely, fabulous, gorgeous, lovely self. Tell us more. What's these snakes want? They remember how generous they are. What did I say? They want to talk to you, but they'll be ear hustling. It'll be the word whisperings of Hannibal Lecter, right? They will get into your cranium, darling dears, and make you hysterical. Surprise! It's no surprise, darling dears. They'll do the same shit they did before. They will stress you to the 10th. Was it? They bring you to your stress threshold, darling dears. I told you they're serving Page of Cups energy. That is a skin peeling liar. They're layered. You don't like the layered. Yeah. And they're bored. And remember what I always told you about a hungry dog? A maga dog always turn on and bite you. Greed, darling dears. What about the one that's got the mistress, right? That's been promoted to the what? The head bitch, and he's been treated like a bitch. Where's my situation there? Hold on a minute, bestie. I'm coming as quickly as my little hands can find the cards. What about the one that's got a mistress who sees that you still hold all the power? Why? Because your name's being bandied around, darling dears. You, who they said was less than, was nothing, just that and the other. The one whose resources, that they used out your resources, darling dears. Tried to gun out your panani or your futum. Yeah, they tried it all. They lived in your pot. When you opened your purse or your wallet, they was in there, darling dears. The one who's got the mistress on the side, who's going through a bad time right next to the dark night of the soul, right? Bride of Chucky, they said. So they got a bitch, yeah. What about them? That's a lot of cards, blood. They got what they did. Look, all the cards rolled out, but this is the one. They got the snake they deserve, darling dears. So they're living in what? Mud hut. Mud hut at what? 911 Freddy Krueger Avenue, 2 streets over from the loser lane. Yes. It's all because you ran away, darling dears. You did the tinky winky. That person, right? Codependent, addicted to the situation, darling dears. While you're on the what? The up and up. What did I say? Mama's got a brand new bag. Papa's got a brand new bag, and it doesn't include them. You're not carrying a bag of heathens, of the wicked, darling dears. Your bag is light. Your load is light. Why? Erykah Badu said, pack light, push clap. Love it. Run away from them. disappear, vamos, underlay, underlay. Remember your heart. The same heart they crushed many a time, darling dears, and they didn't care. The same heart they possibly crushed when they brought this what, Jezebel spirit into their life. Yeah, they look good on paper, darling dears, but the inside. Some people, you see, because people get with people for the impression they will give, or yeah, for street cred, darling dears. But they don't know what the inside is like. Why did you find that person in the middle of a field behind electrocuted wire with attack dogs trained on them? Yes, they look good, but so did Delilah. Didn't Delilah cut off Samson's hair? And Samson was relying on that hair for his strength, and he didn't. He just had to ask God to give him the strength. And he killed every one of them blood clot. Listen, I told you blood clot is a wonderful word. It is. It can be used in many ways. Split the deck. They only want to do the same thing. They're going to come back with the same what? 1-2 shufti, darling dears. You better keep that what? Drapetomania. You develop the urge to run away. Keep running away. Listen, I'm a track star, darling dears. Why? Because I got giant's hands, a smart mouth, and the memory of an elephant, darling dears. But my energy is not to be wasted on the feeble-minded. This is why when you leave with your power grid, darling dears, let them continue to F with you and with their words, darling, just because they don't understand your spiritual ranking. They can't understand why bad luck is beseeching them. And like I said, if Father God can use Lazarus, who was dead, why not you, bestie? Remember, you only will attract the healed once you are truly healed, right? Leave them on what the wicked, the past, on the docket, darling dears. Some things you are not meant to understand. Why? Blah, 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 blah. Well, you're not meant to. That's a waste of time and energy when you could be uplifting another big cat, yourself, working on your body, your goals, your dreams, using your gifts to what? Uplift this Malkuf. We are all volunteers, us big cats. We volunteer to come back in the age of Aquarius. Do you know how many ancestors would love to be in our place? Not only are we here, we are in our flip-flops, common sense blood. We're so smart, kind, smart, and important that we've got a field of flip-flops. They're like Airbnbs. We could rent them out, but we don't. Not to those that what effed us over without the Vaseline. And people think that they can just crook their finger and you come running. Running for what? Timothy 3:6 says, no, let no one spin off the blocketh, not even you, blood. That's what it was. This is where that mistress is. These are where these people are. They are bound by the karmic soul ties that they are making, by the wickedness that they're trying to send at you. They're trying to send you DNS energy to somebody who has what? Spiritual grading, darling dears. Ranking. And I suggest, Big Cat, you continue to be an expert in whatever you choose to be your field. Continue to bask in the Dharma that you've created for yourself. Continue to roll with the 6 G's, darling, years of God, goals, gifts, greatness, growth, and gratitude. Leave the dummy bats where they are. You are their karma. Let's get a final card and then we're off to what? That's right, bestie. Mind our own business. Haven't used this deck in a while. They're homosexuals, like. Of course, them love you. Them love you a long time. They love pushing you around. Right? What's this? And it's not for you, darling dears. Divine, can you see? When we see archways or doorways, darling dears, when they're open, you know they can go through them. Right? A new opportunity, a new passage. God said no. Right? Because your loyal heart is being protected by a higher power. I can't make it up. This is why I tell you all of the time, whenever you feel unsure, you call your ancestors. Why? Your conscious mind, the mind that had you trapped with the wicked for whatever period of time it was, is trying to put you back into dummy back mode. You fight with your everything, darling. Just calling your ancestors. Question these thoughts. The flag represents transformation. Another set of numbers is 35, 6, and 4, darling dears. That's 8. 8 and 6 is 14 plus 4, 18. Moon energy. What did I say? The negative energies that are at you. But the moon also speaks about new illumination. Listen to your intuition and your discernment. You are meant to be missed forever. You're a big cat. How about that? On that note, I drops me mic. Todd love to my Teesprings, my Patreon, or my TikToks, where I also upload YouTube videos. And as I always say, don't get smoked. And don't smoke yourself. From the ashes, baby. Namaste. Big cat wave. Until we meet again on these tarot streets. Cat, cat. Cat, cat. Don't let those blood clots come back with their blood clottery. Yeah. And say it with the bass. Blood clottery.